The course of the Israel-Hamas war is about to change. As this conflict intensifies, the U.S. has sprung into action and deployed the world's most powerful aircraft carrier to the Middle East. But this colossal vessel won't be alone. It will be accompanied by a formidable group and a mysterious aircraft that has everyone talking. What could this unknown aircraft mean for the future of the conflict? What makes it stand out from other aircraft? Join us as we unveil the mysterious UFO aircraft on the United States Navy aircraft carrier in the Mediterranean Sea. In a recent development, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has ordered the USS Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group to move to the eastern Mediterranean Sea in response to the recent attacks on Israel by Hamas. The Carrier Strike Group has been stationed in the Mediterranean since June, initially as a show of strength due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. This powerful group includes the aircraft carrier USS Gerald R. Ford, the guided missile cruiser USS Normandy, and several Arleigh Burke-class destroyers like the USS Thomas Hudner, USS Ramage, USS Carney, and USS Roosevelt. Before the recent move, the strike group was operating near Italy. Now, with the new orders, they are heading closer to Israel. In addition to repositioning the strike group, Austin also announced plans to send more U.S. fighter planes to the region, including F-35 Joint Strike Fighters, F-15, F-16s, and A-10 tactical aircraft, showing how seriously the United States is taking the situation. Austin's actions came after he spoke with President Joe Biden about how the U.S. should respond to the Hamas attack on Israel. He said these moves are meant to strengthen the United States military presence and show strong support for Israel. However, on Saturday, Hamas surprised Israel with an attack from the Gaza Strip, catching the Israel Defense Forces off guard in southern Israel. According to reports, there are hostages and prisoners of war, and the exact number of casualties among Israeli soldiers is still unknown. Hamas, a group considered a foreign terrorist organization by the U.S., governs Gaza, which Israel occupies. So far, more than 600 Israelis and 400 Palestinians have been harmed, according to Israeli newspaper Haaretz. Quite recently, Austin spoke with Israeli Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant to express United States support for Israel and to get updates on Israel's actions to restore security after the attack. Austin emphasized that these U.S. military actions are meant to reinforce the region and help Israel defend itself, showing the U.S.'s firm commitment to helping its ally. The USS Gerald Ford would not be going alone. It would be equipped with one of the most dangerous and advanced drones in the world, the X-47 drone. What is its capability and what makes it different from other drones? The X-47 drone started with the Joint Unmanned Combat Air Systems program in the early 2000s. This was a joint effort by the U.S. Navy and Air Force to build an unmanned fighter. The program was canceled in 2006, but the Navy believed in the idea and brought it back under a new program called UCAS-D. This is where the X-47B took shape, thanks to Northrop Grumman. This new drone was designed to be a tailless, jet-powered fighter that could fly by itself, refuel in the air, and handle sea conditions. Since the X-47B had to deal with saltwater, rough sea landings, and complex carrier systems, the project cost a lot. By 2012, the total cost had risen to around $813 million. But the Navy kept funding the project because they knew how important the X-47 would be. This aircraft could fly into dangerous areas, identify targets, and even launch attacks with its two weapon bays that can hold 4,500 pounds of bombs. This drone was fast, powerful, and smart. It had a near supersonic speed, could fly as high as 42,000 feet, and had a range of 2,400 miles. The X-47B performed incredibly well in tests. It launched from aircraft carriers, landed safely, refueled in midair, and operated in difficult environments. It also integrated perfectly with the Navy's carriers. In 2012, it began testing on the USS Harry S. Truman and passed with flying colors, showing it could work with the flight deck, hangars, and communication systems. This success means the USS Gerald Ford is even more powerful with the X-47B on board. Once the X-47B is developed into a more powerful version, the X-47C, which will carry up to 10,000 pounds of bombs, the USS Gerald Ford will be even stronger. But even now, it's one of the greatest forces in the world, and here's why. The USS Gerald Ford is the leader of the U.S. aircraft carrier fleet. The United States owns about 25% of the world's aircraft carriers, and their total deck space is more than double all other nations combined. The USS Gerald Ford is powered by 2 nuclear reactors, which means it can run for 25 years without needing to refuel. This gives it a huge advantage, allowing it to travel around the world without stopping. With a top speed of around 30 knots, the carrier can reach any country quickly, whether it is to support allies or strike enemies. The USS Gerald Ford is also incredibly smart. It uses artificial intelligence and unmanned vehicles, like the X-47, to carry out missions. With fewer crew members needed, the ship has more space for advanced systems and weapons. This also gives the 4,500 crew members a better quality of life, with ergonomic workspaces and gym facilities. The carrier is equipped with the most advanced sensors and radars. Its radar system, the AN/SPY-3, is the most advanced of its kind, capable of handling the surveillance, air traffic control, missile communications, and target detection from miles away. This technology ensures the USS Gerald Ford remains a step ahead of any threat. The carrier can hold up to 70-30 fighter jets and unmanned aerial vehicles, including the Navy's F-35C Lightning II, one of the most advanced jets in the world. The F-35C can do it all, from vertical takeoff and landing to close air support. It's a versatile and powerful fighter, making it the Navy's top choice until the next generation F/AXX fighter is ready. To launch and recover its aircraft, the USS Gerald Ford relies on cutting-edge electromagnetic systems. Its electromagnetic aircraft launch system, also known as EMAL, propels the aircraft into the sky quickly and safely, while the advanced arresting gear ensures smooth landings. These powerful systems outperform older steam-based technology, allowing the carrier to launch more aircraft in less time. With 11 elevators to swiftly move planes and weapons, the Ford is always ready for action. At the same time, Israel's air power took a leap forward with the acquisition of the F-35 Lightning II. In a deal with Lockheed Martin, Israel secured the F-35 Ayadir for its Air Force, and by December 2015, the first jets were operational. Just months later, in May 2018, Israel made history as the first nation to use the F-35 in combat, with the jets playing a key role in the Israel-Hamas conflict. The F-35I has since become a crucial asset, stationed at Nevatim Air Base and serving in 3 elite squadrons. The history of Israel's involvement with the F-35 began in 2003, when Israel signed a $20 million agreement to join the aircraft's development as a security cooperation participant. The Israeli Air Force identified the F-35 as crucial to its future plans and aimed to buy over 100 jets, replacing its aging F-16s. Israel rejoined the F-35 development program in 2003 after resolving tensions with the U.S. over a Chinese arms deal. Throughout the 2010s, Israel worked to customize its F-35s to fit its unique needs. Israeli companies developed smaller missiles, while the Defense Ministry pushed for more local involvement in the production and maintenance of the jets. Israel's defense minister at the time, Ehud Barak, advocated for these enhancements to maintain Israel's technological advantage in the Middle East. Despite criticism from Israeli contractors and high costs, the purchase of 20 F-35s was finalized in 2010, with American military aid covering much of the cost. The total price, including training and spare parts, was about $96 million per plane. Incorporating Israeli-made systems, particularly in radar, electronic warfare, and communications, was a top priority. However, the first batch of F-35s included only limited Israeli systems, with a promise for more customization in future purchases. Lockheed Martin agreed to buy parts from Israeli companies, boosting Israel's defense industry. Despite concerns about the cost and benefits, Israel's commitment to maintaining military superiority pushed the F-35 deal forward. This advanced jet is seen as crucial for Israel's defense strategy, offering cutting-edge capabilities that ensure its technological advantage in the region. The F-35s are specially adapted to meet Israel's unique defense needs, and plans for additional purchases are being considered to further strengthen its air force. While the F-35 represents the future of Israeli air power, the country's aviation legacy is rooted in earlier innovations, like the Israel aircraft industry's Kafer, meaning lion cub in Hebrew. The Kafer is a versatile all-weather combat aircraft based on the French Dassault Mirage 5, But with Israeli-made avionics and a locally produced General Electric J-79 turbojet engine. The Kfir's story began when Israel needed to improve the Dassault Mirage 3C to better suit its air force. The Mirage 3CJ, known for its delta-shaped wings, was the first plane in Israel's fleet capable of flying twice the speed of sound. It was vital to Israel's air force during the 1960s, until newer planes like the A-4 Skyhawk and F-4 Phantom II arrived. Although the Mirage 3CJ was great in air combat, its short range made it less effective for ground attacks. In the mid-1960s, Israel asked Assault Aviation to create a ground attack version of the Mirage 3, which became the Mirage 5. This version had its advanced electronics removed to allow more fuel storage, reducing maintenance costs too. By 1968, Dassault had completed 50 Mirage 5Js for Israel, but after a French arms embargo in 1967, Israel couldn't receive the jets. Determined, Israel made its own version of the Mirage 5, called the Nesher. They managed to get the design plans through Israeli intelligence efforts, allowing them to build their own aircraft. The Kfir program started when Israel wanted to create a better version of the IAI Nesher, which was already in production. After General de Gaulle stopped selling arms to Israel, the Israeli Air Force worried that they might lose their edge against enemies who were getting more advanced Soviet planes. The Mirage was the IAF's most advanced aircraft, but many were lost after the Six-Day War. So Israel decided to build their own planes to avoid the arms embargo. They even used espionage to gather technical information and blueprints from other countries using Mirages. Initially, two engines were tested, the General Electric J-79 turbojet and the Rolls-Royce Spey turbofan. Ultimately, the J-79 was chosen because it was also used in the F-4 Phantom II, which Israel began acquiring from the US in 1969. The J-79 outperformed the original French Ataro 9 engine, providing strong thrust for better performance. To fit the J-79 engine into the Mirage 3's design and provide better cooling, the aircraft's rear was slightly shortened and widened, and the air intakes were enlarged. A large air inlet was added near the vertical stabilizer for extra cooling. The engine was protected by a titanium heat shield. A two-seat Mirage 3BJ with the J-79 engine first flew in September 1970, followed by a re-engineered Nesher in September 1971. An improved version, named Rayam B, took its first flight in June 1973. It featured a redesigned cockpit, stronger landing gear, and many Israeli-made avionics, with fuel capacity increased to 713 US gallons. Though rumors suggest that some original Mirage 3Cs were re-engineered with the J-79 and dubbed Barak, flying during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, no solid evidence has confirmed the existence of these modified planes. While the Mirage stories remain uncertain, the F-15 Ra'am fighters are a proven and a very important asset in the Israeli Air Force. Although the newer F-35 tends to steal the spotlight, the F-15I plays a very important role with its longer range, making it ideal for long-distance strikes and maintaining air superiority. The Ra'am, developed from the American F-15 Eagle, is loaded with cutting-edge technology, weapons, and electronic warfare systems. These planes have played key roles in conflicts in Lebanon, Syria, and Gaza, and they can strike deep into Iranian territory, supporting Israel's defense strategies. Even though the F-35Y is recognized as Israel's top fighter, the F-15W should not be underestimated. In fact, the Ra'am fighters have a greater range than the F-35s and F-16s, which is crucial as the conflict with Hamas continues to unfold. The IAF's aerial power is essential for Israel's security, and the F-15E Ra'am is a significant part of this effort. The F-15 Eagle first took to the skies almost 40 years ago, designed to replace the aging F-4 Phantom II. In the early 1980s, the Eagle stood out as the U.S. Air Force's top pick for a new tactical fighter, thanks to its cutting-edge design, lower costs, and ability to evolve with future technology. Following the 1991 Gulf War, Israel's leaders saw the need for long-range aircraft to neutralize threats. Iraq's Scud missile attacks had revealed gaps in Israel's air defenses, making long-range strike capability critical for the country. To address this, the Israeli Air Force decided to purchase 25 of this jet in the mid-1990s. Israel was already familiar with the F-15, having flown it since 1978 during operations in Lebanon, where it performed impressively against Syria's MiG jets. The Ra'am's advanced radar systems and formidable firepower make it a powerful force in the skies, capable of handling a variety of missions with precision. Its ability to carry up to 18,000 pounds of weapons and fuel, along with its twin engines that can push it past Mach 2, solidify its role as a key asset for the Israeli Air Force. Similarly, the McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom II, an American jet fighter, earned a reputation for versatility and power. Initially built for the U.S. Navy, this twin-engine aircraft quickly became a multi-role supersonic interceptor and fighter bomber. During the Vietnam War, the F-4 played a very important role, serving as the main air superiority fighter for U.S. forces. It also excelled in ground attacks and aerial reconnaissance as the conflict progressed. Notably, all 5 American servicemen during this war did so while flying F-4s. The Phantom remained a key part of U.S. military power throughout the 1960s and 1980s, eventually being replaced by modern jets like the F-15 Eagle and F-16 Fighting Falcon. Even after the Vietnam War, this aircraft continued to serve in various roles, including reconnaissance and suppressing enemy air defenses during the 1991 Gulf War, retiring from combat service in 1996. It was also the only aircraft flown by both the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds and the U.S. Navy Blue Angels. Beyond the United States, the F-4 was used by the armed forces of 11 other nations. Israeli Phantoms fought in several conflicts against Arab nations, and Iran used its fleet during the Iran-Iraq War. This leads to the question, what makes this aircraft special? The F-4 Phantom is a 2-seat fighter bomber built for the U.S. Navy, designed to defend the fleet from enemy aircraft. It features cutting-edge technology like advanced radar and uses a lot of titanium in its structure. Despite its large size and weight of over 60,000 pounds, the F-4 can reach speeds over Mach 2.23 and climb quickly at more than 41,000 feet per minute. It has 9 hardpoints that can carry up to 18,650 pounds of weapons, including missiles and bombs. Originally, it didn't have an internal gun, which was common for jets of its time. This design became the blueprint for future fighters, focusing on long-range missions and heavy payloads, particularly for daytime air combat. For the pilots that graced the cockpits of the F-4, speed is life was their motto, as the Phantom's rapid acceleration gave them control in dogfights. While it had powerful engines, its bulky design made sharp turns difficult, allowing Soviet rivals to outmaneuver it. Despite this, the F-4 remained responsive, and in 1972, the F-4E model's upgraded design improved its handling in tight maneuvers, even if it slightly reduced its top speed. The F-4 was powered by the J-79 engine, which responded quickly when pilots pushed the throttle. There was a famous incident where a pilot missed the landing gear on an aircraft carrier, but quickly regained control by slamming the throttle to full power, allowing him to take off again. However, the J-79 engine produced a lot of black smoke, making it easier for enemies to spot. Many pilots felt that the lack of an internal gun was a major mistake. They believed having a gun would be more reliable than missiles, which were often unreliable during combat. At first, there was a belief that turning dogfights weren't possible at high speeds, so pilots weren't trained in aerial maneuvers. However, in practice, fights often slowed down as pilots tried to position themselves behind enemies. The F-4C eventually carried external gun pods with a 20mm cannon, but these were often inaccurate and problematic. The problem was finally solved with the F-4E, which included an internal cannon for better performance in air combat. These powerful fighter jets, combined with United States involvement, could be the key to bringing an end to this long-standing conflict and finally restoring peace between the two regions. Thanks for watching. While you are still here, click on the link appearing on your screen to check out another of our videos. See you there.